In the world of transaction services, experience makes all the difference. It's knowing the markets, knowing the buyers, knowing the value, and knowing the strategies to implement that will be most effective. And it's that experience that we put into play every day for our clients, because we know experience ultimately defines a success story.
Polycor is a really unique story. They are a Quebec-based company that has been in business for 28 years and is operating subsidiaries throughout Canada and the United States.
At Polycor, we extract and process natural stone for residential, commercial, and institutional markets. We own and operate 20 quarries, have 5 different plants, and employ more than 300 people in 5 cities throughout Canada and the US.
You may not know our company, but chances are you've probably seen our work. Our stones can be found on pretty much every iconic building in Canada, New York, Boston, Washington, D.C., and several other major American cities.
In fact, through our Georgia Marble subsidiary, we are the single largest provider of marble headstone to the US Department of Veterans Affairs. If you date the history, our Georgia Marble quarry was purchased in 2003 and has been continuously providing the product since the US Civil War.
What makes Polycor so special? They are one of the largest, most diversified and integrated natural stone quarries, processors, and suppliers in North America.
And when you look at all of our work and the project we are involved with, that consistency of services and capabilities are essential.
We first heard of MNP through a referral. Like many organizations, we were looking to grow and expand our company at that time. And in January of 2014, we engaged their consulting division to assist us with preparing a strategic plan for one of our institutional investors and our principal shareholder, a French private equity firm then.
One of the key elements that was identified that the biggest potential for our growth was in the US. However, the structure of our business and our previous ownership was not optimal to take full advantage of this opportunity.
What was happening was that management and key employees owned 35% of Polycor, while the majority principal shareholder, who was based in France, had also provided the principal senior management shareholders with an option to acquire the rest of the ownership before the end of 2016. There were 2 other Quebec-based institutional investors present within Polycor, and they had signaled that they would be open to having their capital repaid and to leave the company as investors. Also thrown into the mix, the French parent company needed to refocus on its own home markets and encourage the senior employee shareholders to acquire their remaining 65% stake in the business.
One of the recommendations made was to phase out the pension fund and the majority owner and buy them out completely, so that management would have more control of our growth and where to expand to.
As you can imagine, this was a very sensitive subject, and what really impressed us was MNP's approach. They were extremely fair and very sensitive to the 2 shareholders as well as other counterparties with whom the successful execution was reliant on.
In effect, MNP was able to arrange and position this as a win-win situation for all parties involved.
From the start of the strategic planning phase, MNP carefully built relationship with all participants. But to do this, we needed to raise capital. Being a full-service firm, MNP Consulting Division brought in their corporate finance division to assist us.
And we're so glad they did.
Our first step was to really study the investment environment and look for the best capital opportunity for Polycor. As a result, we raised $12 million of sub-debt and $12 million of preferred shares to help Polycor recap their balance sheet. This further allowed the ownership group to exercise its purchase of in-the-money share purchase options to acquire the remaining 65% from the French shareholders.
Today, Polycor is doing better than ever.
We know this couldn't have been possible without MNP. The understanding and insight they brought to the transaction, their collaborative styles, and their international connection ensure we receive top value in every aspect.
We have realized great opportunity for expanding our presence to the US. We've made 3 acquisitions since this transaction. This has been a huge success story for us. Merci, Monsieur Daniel Porté.
Experience makes all the difference.